tonight I kind of morphed a couple of things that I wanted to do, and one of them was, if you could, we write our own story. What do you want it to be? How many people, and us included, but how many people just find themselves more victim than victor? This is. She was sharing with me her son's had a couple of really weird, tough weeks, just weird stuff that he's not instigating, but yet are happening, and it feels like it's piling up. So instead of seeing the wonderful things that are happening and this, he's starting to record, this stuff, this is what's going on, and then this happened, and now this happened, and this happened. He's not talking about the sunrise. The sun came up this morning. It's just like more things are happening. So if we were going to write our story, what would we want it to be? And the path that my heart got led to lead tonight was, this is something that Tammy does whenever she does a lot of energetic things here. I'm kind of doing the hypnosis thing, and Tammy's is much more energetic, vibrational. Like I said, she does the moon circles, she does drum healing, she does a lot of the more soul level, tranquil souls kind of stuff. But when she finishes anything, she has the people gathered stand in a circle, an intentional circle, so that the energy flows around, and you just simply say, "Hi, I'm Sondra, and I walk my path." And it's a way of identity. This is my path. This is me. But we finish the things with Tammy standing in a circle, and we hold the intention of identity and say, I'm Sondra. I walk my path. I walk my path. I'm walking it, and it's mine. I'm Sondra, and I walk my path. So what I decided to kind of do tonight is, if we were going to write our story, what would you write down? Would you write now we all have to live on a fulcrum. We know that there is a balance, and the intention is that we find that availability to live in the neutral spot, and not the extremes of the oh so good, or the extremes of the oh so awful, but more find the balance in life, knowing that there's always going to be an opposite, but find that balance. But in writing our story, what would it be that you would write if I was to hand you a piece of paper right now, and I said, just give me one paragraph that describes you? Would you go with the positive and the uplifting, and this is the stuff that's going well, and this is what I'm creating, and this is what my potential is, this is what I'm excited about? Or would you go, well, these are the things I'm dealing with, and this is how I feel like it's happening to me, and and I think that shifts and changes. And if we have a really great day, then it's really easy to find something else good going on. But when I was doing my research today, this guy was saying that and I have it in here, one of the steps to living and to living well is to release judgment of good and bad, of right and wrong. Not just the stuff you don't like. And he said, when you place a judgment on something, it sticks. And he was saying it's so much easier to let go of a judgment of something you consider bad, because you get to get rid of it. But when you judge something as right or as good, then you're willing to stand and fight for it, and all this resistance comes up and all this kind of stuff. So it was interesting that part of releasing our limitations can be literally releasing judgment of right and wrong, of good and bad. And the way that as I did my research today, and as I put my heart into this thing today, I write my story, I walk my path, I create my life. This is my life, and I'm creating it, and I get to decide how I'm going to react. I can't change what's going on outside that door. The world is still out there, and it's still going to happen, and it's still going on. There are still crazy drivers with hitches on the back of ball hitches on the back of their car. One of them ran into her son's car. It had been in an accident, getting ready to take his car into the shop, and then another vehicle hit his car. Yeah, so it's like bouncing up against kind of thing.
So it's like $1,100 in damage, went to probably $5,000 in damage. So it's.
And it just feels like it's yeah. So I write my story, I walk my path, I create my life. This is my life. But if I create it, then I can also uncreate my limitations. And that's kind of where I want to go tonight. So on New Year's Day, to welcome 2017, it's like I am at the furthest edge, at the edge between the land, the sea, and the sky. And I wanted to look into the coming of 2017 and say, come on, I'm here. You're going to come from right there, and I'm here to meet you. And then we did the same thing for 2018 as well. We went to the same beach, we stood on the same land, and made a partnership with 2018, and it was really, really, really powerful. And throughout the year of 2017, I kept going back to this ocean, to this particular beach, and just spending time. And I got out there one day, and it was low tide, and I found this mud spot. So I was out there making my own tracks in the mud, and I knew that as soon as the tide came back in, they'd all be washed away. But that's my foot. That's my foot in the mud, and it was so much fun creating my path and watching this. You know, I didn't time it. I didn't go to the beach. And it's interesting because I had such a good time in the mud that I decided I was going to go back and collect more mud because I wanted to I wanted to go get some mud and bring it home, right? The next time I went, I figured out what the lowest possible tide was, so the water was out as far as it was going to go. Not one bit of mud anywhere. Not one bit of mud anywhere. It was sand, it was shells, it was hard ground all the way out. No matter where I went, I couldn't find mud anywhere. It was pretty interesting. So that's my foot, and the point is, I'm walking my path. I'm creating my life. This is my life, and I'm creating it. And our point is, when you walk through this door, you have the opportunity for everything to change. You know, you are welcome here. Welcome home. We're glad you're here. We have dedicated our life and our intentions and what we do for your positive change, if that's what you're here for. You know, that's why we're here. It's what we do, and we do it from our heart. And so, for me, we all have our own strengths. But for me, with people, my strength, among many other things, is I call it tool time with Sondra. You want a tool to use? Because this doesn't determine whether or not you're going to hypnosis. Hypnosis is working with your subconscious mind, period. It's not whether or not you close your eyes and drift off. That's great. That's a lot of fun. But that's not the meat of hypnosis. Well, for me, and here in this office, I tend to be the one giving the tools. And one of the tools that I give people when they come in here, and I know you've been given this tool many times, but one of them is that, I gift you in your subconscious a master key. This is your key. This is your key. You do with this subconscious what you know Susie needs. And the concept is that with this key, which is yours, it's your key, and we can do this hypnotically here in a minute, it's your key. But with this key, you will never be locked in again. You'll never be locked out again. You get to choose which doors you lock. You get to choose which doors you unlock. And you get to choose which doors you walk through. And because everything we do here is always and only for your highest and greatest good, when you walk through this door, everything changes. Do you choose to walk through this door? Because we are here for your positive change. And so that's why I've got, when you walk through this door, everything changes. And, oftentimes we work with people, and there are things that now's not the time to deal with this. That now is not the proper place, space, or time to deal with this. So you put it safely, whether it be in a vault or behind a locked door, it doesn't matter. You got the key. You lock it, and you know it's safe. Everything that we do is intended for your highest and your greatest. So it's not like when you put something behind a door and lock it, that there's I'm not putting a good or a bad on it. I'm just saying not now. I can't do this right. My mom, we had a fantastic family weekend this weekend. I mean, it was over the top weekend, but everything was dedicated to the family. So, as far as, my job, this office went behind a door this weekend. We talked about being busy. We talked about the fact we work 12-hour days here. We talked about our clients. We talked about how much we love our jobs, but I didn't work this weekend. Not what, and that doesn't mean that I pushed that doesn't mean my job's not important. It wasn't time for that. So when you walk through this door, what do you want? What do you need? What do you desire? What do you require? Subconscious, what's going on? Help us figure this stuff out. I'm here and I'm listening. And that's one of the things that we do is with Hello Subconscious is, subconscious, you've got the blueprint. You know what's going on. What do we need to do to get us down the road? Where do we want to go? There's always a welcome home when you come in here. I guarantee you that is our intention for your highest and greatest good. Now, what does that do? Okay, that means as I work directly with your subconscious, directly with your subconscious, she knows that it is my intention for your highest and greatest good, period. That is clearly defined. That's why we're here. And the next one is zero harm. Zero harm to anyone. So subconscious hears me say that. And in hearing me say that, if anything would happen here that needs to be shifted or adjusted, your subconscious is on it. Whether it be shifting your attention, our subconscious is sensitive enough to shift and to change anything that we need to shift or change at any point. And it's I think my next slide, but one of the components of our subconscious is our imagination. If you're talking to me, well, that's one of the tools I give you. I give you this master key. And with this master key, the coolest part about this master key concept is that when you realize that you have put yourself in a box, or you realize that somebody else has backed you into a corner, or you realize that life has you feel like you're caged in, okay? How cool is it that the moment you realize you feel locked in or caged in or shoved in a corner, you got the key. You got the key in your hand before you even realize you're locked in. So it's like, oh, I'm locked into this situation. Ta-da! And you reach around and you unlock the door. Unlock it from your side. I don't care. I mean, for me, when I think of that, I think of a prison cage, actually. When I put it in my head, that's what I see in my head. And I see the bars and I see the slots. And for me, when I realize that I've been caged in again, I reach through and I unlock it from the outside and then I open the door out. That's just me. You can do it any way you want. But that's the beauty of when you walk through here, when you walk through that door, you have the invitation for everything to change. And you get to choose. Well, how do we do that? How do we do that? How does that possible? Well, that's possible when we connect with, when we partner in with our subconscious mind. Flat out. That's where the power is. That's where that happens. Because our cognitive thinking, clear, wide awake, God bless her, please, mind, is dealing with the world as it is all day, every day. And it's really not going to change tomorrow or the day after or the day after. Think for a minute of the things that your eyes have seen, that your ears have heard, that you have been, because you are witness in your life, the things you have seen. And your eyes, your ears, your physical senses, that's the part of you that is processing all of that. Now, thank God, the three of us work with our subconscious mind all the time. Thank you, God, that is even an option for us. Because most people haven't spent 5 minutes of their lives turning around and saying hello or thank you or could we maybe partner up with their subconscious? So they witness the world and then they think it through and then they come up with something that they've thought through and then it usually bounces off of them, which causes stress, anxiety, tension, frustration, whatever. But we have this really cool extra tool, which is that inner piece of us, that inner part of us, which is our subconscious mind. That's the gold mine. Oh my God. Because within her, within our subconscious lives, breathes, acts out, and enjoys life is our imagination. And if you can imagine something differently, you can change it. You know, the value of a vivid, vibrant, amazing, powerful imagination will change our world. And this evening's theme is I'm writing my story, and when we leave here, you guys go home tonight and pick up a pen, and after we talk about this stuff, see what flows through your fingers, and give your subconscious the crayon, give your subconscious the paintbrush, give your subconscious the pencil or the pen or the marker, whatever you're going to do this with, hand it over to your subconscious, say, subconscious, write your story. Tell me what's going on from your perspective. But imagination, I like to tell people, we'll never know what we were saved from. Because when we give our subconscious mind permission, not just permission, but an invitation to look at our lives at a 24/7 perspective, recognize things, review things, take a resourcing. I've always done it this way because this is how I look at it. Okay, how about if we review that sucker? And how about if we resource that thing and we put the membership back together and we remember it, put it back together a different way, and your subconscious and especially your imagination's like, I've never thought about it that way before. Wow. And at the speed of need, at the speed of thought, at the speed of the moment that you're in, your subconscious with your imagination can shift your point of view, step you out of the way. I like to say you'll never know what you've been saved from, because while your subconscious is picking up on small cues, small clues, this would not be good for me, and suddenly over here, it catches our attention. Oh, I call it, oh, look, a squirrel. But over here, there's something going on that catches my attention. And you go home that evening going, you know what? Nothing upset me today. It was the best day ever because nothing upset me. Well, that's because your subconscious has you looking over here at something you would have normally have looked at over here, which is amazing. Hi, Nathan. So that's the power of the imagination. And there's a lot more that our subconscious does. Think about that for a minute. If we were to ask ourselves, what limitations, ask your subconscious this evening, what limitations am I carrying around? Do I need them? Do I need these limitations? No, it's just always been there, and a lot of times what we do hypnotically is we allow limitations. That's just the word I'm using tonight. We could call this many, many, many things. A way out. We get people in here all the time that are filled with anxiety, filled with stress, filled with fear, filled with pain, filled with the need for healing. They're carrying that crap around with them because they got nowhere else to put it. What exactly do you do with exhaustion? It's not like sleep helps. Sleep doesn't help exhaustion at all. So what do you do with it? Well, hypnotically, and that's limitations as well. I can't do this because I don't fit in that world because. But to me, imagination is the workhorse of the subconscious mind. When the imagination kicks in, boy, howdy, watch out, honey, let's go. But the way that our subconscious works, in the name of writing our story tonight, walking our path, I'm inviting your subconscious. I'm inviting your subconscious. I'm inviting my subconscious. When we say, okay, are there limitations that are truly, if I were to release judgment and release my limitations, oh my God, what's possible? Now, this is a quote that I found today that I thought was amazing. When we create our lives as we choose to create them. Now, the example that I use, because not only if we can create, then we can also uncreate. Okay, and my example of that is, and we uncreate the judgments that we've been carrying. We uncreate the limitations that we've been carrying with us. But if we can uncreate, and my example we do good works all the time. We have a heart in the right place. We're working for an intention. I wanted to make chocolate chip cookies. And these chocolate chip cookies are going to be flippin' amazing. And they're going to a good cause. And it's nothing but positive. And I'm out of flour. Okay? I can't make these cookies without flour. So I'm frustrated that I had to go buy the flour to come back and then make this wonderful. The create is appreciate the fact that the cookies were a huge success, uncreate the frustration of having to get in the car, go buy the flour, and go back. But the quote that I found was, when you are willing to uncreate and let go of something that has been limiting you, it instantly opens a space for something less limiting or even unlimited to show up. So when we hold a limitation, it's actually taking up space that when released, something less limiting or unlimited, there's now space for something else to show up. Yeehaw. So I thought that was cool. When you are willing to uncreate and let go of something that has limited you, it instantly opens a space for something less limiting or even unlimited to show up. So I thought that was
cool.
That was pretty cool. That was, and that's not me that said that. That was a quote by somebody else. Just asking a question. How would you even begin to write a fresh new story about your life? Where would you start if you were going to write a fresh story? Even a fresh chapter. If you were going to go home and write a paragraph for me. Fresh story, where would you start? Well, these are the few things that I came up with, okay? Was undo judgments, and we talked about that earlier. You know, right and wrong, good and bad, happy, sad. You know, life is going to happen. You can't, there's nothing that doesn't have a balance on the other side. Everything has an opposite. Everything has an opposite. It just is. And if you live on the extremes, then you're going to be exhausted. So the goal is to come to neutral. That doesn't mean that the good and the bad have to be balanced out equally. I'm saying come to a neutral for you. And we judge those things. And my research today was saying that, you know, it's easier to let go of the judgment of bad because we're getting rid of something. But man, I've judged this to be correct. I've judged this to be right. I'll fight for this because it's right. It's still a judgment. Undo your judgments and kind of come to a neutral space with that. But then in destroying the structure of your limitations, where do your limitations, where they fit? You know, how you limit yourself. One of the things that we do here is we cube the office space pretty much every morning. This is a safe place. We claim this for you. We claim this for you. You know, all that happens here is for the highest and greatest good of anyone who enters. Zero harm. You are welcome here. And I love sacred geometry. Sacred geometry is just something that just really, really blesses my heart in a huge way. And that was one of the things I didn't finish talking about with this one. Sacred geometry is just a huge piece of my heart. And within sacred geometry, the cube is the structure that everything else fits in. And you kind of need to have a structured space for everything to fit in. You know, this is where this fits. Now, once you decide what that structure is, you work from there. But you got to have a baseline. You need to have a platform. You need to have a foundation. Whatever you call it. Well, here, because we have square walls, we have corners, we have, you know, this is a cube, you know. So we bring it up and we bring it around and we give a blessing to it. And the cube where you can do your work here is highest and greatest, zero harm, positive change happens here. You want to heal? You want to come home and heal somewhere? You walk through that door, and that's our intention, is for you to be able to heal here. In sacred geometry, and that's the cube, but in sacred geometry, what I noticed here is as we hook all these together, now the top is actually an actual Vesica Pisces, okay? That is 2 circles, and they're literally hitting the center point of the other one. That's the picture at the top, okay? Now these aren't doing that, but there's still that overlap. In sacred geometry, that central piece there is called the Vesica Pisces, and it is respected as the portal for new life, the portal for new birth. It is almost like the sacred opening of the womb of the universe. From there, all things come. From there, all things are possible. So when you want to shift a limitation, when you want to change something, you know, I need to birth into something else. For me, sacred geometry does that for me every time. I'm just a real sacred geometry fiend, right? But what I noticed is that we've got these Vesica Pisces here, and it's just nothing more than 2 circles. But when they intersect, it's like right there is the still point. That's the portal. that's the place in the space where you and your subconscious step up and say, okay, I am ready to release, and I'm ready to be birthed into something new and something different. So when you lay down tonight and you decide it's time for you to rest, time to sleep, would you like to step into a whole new life? Would you like to step into the newness as if you were, what could I do right here and right now that would change my limitations, change the judgments that I have? Step through. And so the Vesica Pisces and that's just another one of the sacred geometry things. Okay. So when it says destroy the structure of your limitations, well, where are your limitations at? What do we need to do? When we destroy the structure, it creates new possibilities. This is uncreating at its best. And the power of uncreating, it's like I have lived my life believing this. Uncreate that. Is it serving? Is it helping you? No. Why do you believe that? Well, I believe that because I've always believed that. And I've got this whole file inside my subconscious folder. Belief is standing there with this filing cabinet. I believe this, and I believe this, and I believe this, and this is hooked to this, and this is hooked to this, and I can justify it, and I could fight for it. I could definitely explain exactly why I believe that. But is it serving you? Subconscious, is this belief helping me be the person I want to be at all? And I see belief standing there with these file folders in her hand going, please, Susie, let me shred this sucker. You think this can't change? Allow me to shred this so that imagination can show you that it can be different. Because what you believe, the story you tell yourself, that's where you're going. If I believe things cannot be different, you know what? They're going to stay the same. And if you keep doing things the way you've always done them, then you're going to continue to get what you always got. Now that's fine if you're getting what you want. But if you got something going on and you're not getting what you want, stop doing it the same way you've always done it. And one of the ways that we can do that, back to Tool Time with Sondra here, is to honor the gift of uncreating. Honor the gift of belief standing there saying, swear to God, Virginia, let me shred this. Because this can be different. It doesn't have to be the way you've got this all worked out in your head. Let me shred this and show you it can be different. And that's where imagination comes in. Shows us a different way. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. Whew. Another way of working with our limitations is, we've already talked about undoing our judgments and destroying the structure that our limitations fit in. But then also, what's meaningful to me and what's not. And we don't even have to figure that out. Subconscious, I gift you with the question of what is meaningful, what is not, what's necessary, what's not. Subconscious, go through every decision I've ever made, the habits that has created. And I understand that my decisions were based on this happened and this is how I feel about it. Well, guess what? Memory and emotion are standing right there, right beside you. Imagination, I give you an entirely new color palette. Redo, recreate, uncreate. Take this wherever it needs to be and allow wholeness and healing to be available. Okay? And one of the ways to do that is, okay, subconscious, and I'm not telling you, I'm asking you. I'm asking, what's meaningful? What's not? What am I giving high-level meaning to that if I looked at that differently, it wouldn't matter at all? It doesn't, the things you think are meaningful don't have to be. What's meaningful? What's not meaningful? And oftentimes we feel like, well, different punishments and different rewards. How does the punishment and the reward system work for you? Well, this happens, so this has to be the result of that. Good or bad. We're back to the good and bad, the right or wrong, the happy or sad. What's meaningful? And that's no kidding there. So what's meaningful? What's not? What rewards do I feel like if I do this, then I've earned that? If I don't do this, then this I expect this to be the punishment I'm going to get for it. Let that shit go, you know. And the other thing is the go beyond. It's like when we're writing this fresh story, what are the things that just stop you in your tracks? What are the things that just take your breath away? What are the things that are like, that just push you beyond and clear those devastating moments? And that doesn't have to be the right here, right now. That's the going beyond. When you write a new story, sometimes it's like, what do I need to clear? What do I need to let go of? What limitations are running through me because I've got some belief over here that really needs to be cleared? Am I talking in too big circles? Am I making sense?
Absolutely.
Actually, I already read this quote, but the purpose of this quote was, we could talk all day, but by the time we think it through and we come up with the appropriate words and then we speak them out, but then you have to hear them, translate them for what that means for you, and then come up with a thoughtful response to that, and then come up with the words that will be. It's like, man, it's how we communicate. Thank God we have this form of communication. But the bottom line, in any situation, in any limitation, wherever we're at, in clearing the limitations, in uncreating the crap in our lives, in going beyond the devastating moments and allowing healing to truly, truly, truly happen, there is an energy beneath those words. It's much more powerful. So don't you agree? It's much more powerful in how you feel, not what you say. Because that's where your subconscious is talking back to you. You've got all these thoughts that run through. You've got all of this energy that's right beneath the surface of the words. And I'm not saying we shouldn't speak. We need to talk it out. We need to be with friends. We need to talk about our good times and our bad times, and the energy of the words. When you're willing to uncreate and let go of something that's been limiting you or has limited you, it instantly opens a space for something less limiting or even unlimited to show up. So when you're willing to let go of the stuff that's holding you back, holding you down, holding the door shut, now we're back to having the master key. You've got a master key. And that master key, with that master key, if you choose to accept it, you choose to hand it to your subconscious mind and say, subconscious, I love you, I trust you, and he is the keeper of that key. Now you can consciously use it. I use my key all the time. Subconscious, you got it? Yep, okay. Lock that sucker down. And I kind of jumped a little bit here because I'm giving you a whole lot of keys, okay? I'm giving you a whole lot of tools. Okay, well, I'm going to give you this last one that we're going to go in. This is the last one we're going to do. We've talked a lot this evening about limitations. We all have limitations. We all have limitations. Mine aren't yours, but we all have them. I'm limited by this, or I'm limited by... This is the last one to give you. We've been talking about limitations, and what I've given you is I've given you several ways already this evening to release your limitations. Well, imagine your limitations as if a tree, okay? An acorn was planted, and that's the limitation. There was a limitation that was planted, and then it grew a little bit, and grew a little bit more, until you've got this massive, mature trunk there right in the front of you. You can't go through the path. You can't go through it. You can't go around it. This is one of those oak trees on the path on a mountain street, So it's like you got a cliff on this side, a mountain on this side, and a big oak in the middle. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to get rid of that limitation? You've created this thing, and you've done a really, really good job. And this is one of the things I'm going to do this evening is, if you take something that's really big and really limiting in front of you, that's just right there, man, you could be there all day long. But hypnotically, when we work with our subconscious, we say, subconscious, you know where this started. You know the seed that was planted in me, for me, around me, to me, and through me. You know, subconscious, where this started. You know what the origin of this limitation is. Whether it's a big one or a little one, your subconscious holds all your emotions, all your emotions. She knows where it started. All your memories. She is well aware of the exact moment where something happened. This happened, and this is how you felt about it. And she is completely and totally in tune with the imagination that you've got connected to that. We don't have to hit it for what's in our face right here, right now. Hypnotically, we can say subconscious, asking you to go back to the seed of this. Where did this sucker start? And allow that to be where we work on the limitation. Allow me to release it. Allow me to let it go and let it flow at that level. Allow me to let it go as if it were still a seed. And it's not even really working with history as much as it is working with subconscious perspective. How about if we release it at the seed level? Now, if we've got an actual massive tree in front of us, shooting the seed doesn't help, it's gone. But we're talking about subconscious level limitations, life limitations. We've got a key. Your subconscious knows where it started. Releasing the judgments of either ourselves or whatever it is that we're getting hit with. When you're willing to uncreate and let go of something that is limiting you or has limited you, it instantly opens up a space for something less limiting or even unlimited to show up. But no, we absolutely don't need to know what it is. I mean, we don't. We just don't. Our cognitive, conscious thinking, clear, awake, alert mind
doesn't have to have
does not have to have clear recollection or knowledge.
Of it, a
No,
description of it.
no,
Let
no. We're working at a subconscious perspective. We're working at a subconscious level, right? And what we're doing here is at a subconscious level. And the point is, I think what just came to my heart was not only do you not have to know, it may be even better if you don't, because then you're trusting your subconscious to take care of it. And that's what I'm trying to teach you to do, is to know that she's there, know she has a job, know she's working on your highest and your greatest behalf, and trust her to do her job. And if you knew what it was, it's not that you can't know what it is. It's not a secret or anything. But if you did know, then you'd be thinking it through. Yeah. Use the two words, what if? What if you don't have to understand it? And ask that to your subconscious. What if I don't have to understand it? And your subconscious says, fine. Like, oh, I don't. Okay, got it. See what I'm saying? But oftentimes when I get to that point, you use, this is another tool, and I know I'm feeding you with a fire hose tonight. The question that you speak to yourself, asking your subconscious, not necessarily asking, not asking your conscious mind to think it out, but ask your subconscious to feel it through. What if? What if I don't know what it is? Okay. What if I don't really want to know? What if I just want to feel better? Okay. Another tool that I give people all the time is they ask. You need to ask. You need to ask questions. And if you don't know what to ask, put the two words, what if, in front of your thought. What if I don't know? What if I don't understand? What if it were different? What if this limitation weren't here? I give you the tool of what if. Asking your subconscious. Ask, listen, and take inspired action. We have determined that we're going to just give our subconscious a pat on the back, a thank you, and a level of trust by choice. Because that was the next slide that I didn't do. You will always have a choice. You can keep every limitation you've got. Nobody's going to take it away from you. Nobody's, it is completely and totally a choice. I have this limitation. I know it's here, but I feel it keeps me safe. So it's mine and I'm not getting rid of it. Okay. You got it. It will always be a choice. No one will ever, in this office or anybody that I have anything to do with, will never require you to let go of or release anything. But, however, when you're ready, to release, this is also the place to come. This is the place to be. So we determined, at least with me as your guide, your assistant, your escort, is that there's a level of trust with the subconscious mind. Subconscious, I know you're there, and I love you, and I respect you, and I appreciate what you do in me. And to the conscious mind, we got your back. We got your back.